Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Detroit Comics Picks of the Week and Shop Talk. I'm Lee Gaddis,
And I'm Miles Van Meter.
and we're here at Detroit Comics. So, Miles, what do you got for us this week?
This week I have The Island #6. This is an anthology series that Brandon Graham, one of my favorite artists and creators, he edits this, puts it together with different creators every week. It's not unlike Dark Horse Presents or something, Thought Bubble, something along those lines. This one has a couple anthropomorphic tales and a couple weird shorts and nice wraparound art. I think this is a great product, and I think there should be more things like this on the shelf.
All right. My pick of the week is Justice League by Alan Hitch and
Brian Hitch.
Brian Hitch, sorry. I'm thinking Alan Moore. Yeah. And I think that it's a really good way to immerse yourself into the dynamics between Wonder Woman, Superman, Aquaman, and especially Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Cyborg, because they're going to be in the new Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice movie that's coming up. So it's a good way to immerse yourself and prepare your palette for that movie, even though it's not a tie-in. And I don't think, are they doing an adaptation of that movie, Miles?
I don't think they do those anymore.
Wow, showing my age.
Yeah, that's a thing of the past. I love Brian Hitch's art though and storytelling. He's very cinematic, and he has good pacing. So people complain that his things look a little stiff sometimes, but I don't. I see that a little bit, but I think for the most part, I think he's really good at telling a story, moving it along, moving it forward, getting you into it. It's very dynamic.
Yeah, so the sequential nature of his art, he has an old school style, but it's really good in the angles that he tells the story in and the way the panels flow. He does a really good job of doing that sequentially with his artwork. So it's not as dynamic as a Jim Lee or somebody like that. It's not as organic, I guess, what people are looking at.
Yeah.
But it definitely does the job of telling the story, and he does a very good professional job on that. So check that out. So what else is on the horizon for us here?
Well, we have the Deadpool movie in a couple weeks. So Marvel's really pushing a lot of Deadpool comics. There's a different one every week.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like,
Yeah. Tail wagging the dog. Movies pushing the comics.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I think they did a brilliant job with their marketing campaign, their viral marketing.
Oh, it's been brilliant.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds was perfect casting. I think DC wasted their chance with him on the Green Lantern. I think he would have made a much better Flash, and a Flash movie with his comedic timing and his physique would have done much better as the Flash than he would have as Green Lantern.
I think Ryan Reynolds casted as Deadpool is probably the best
Superhero casting.
Since Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
But the thing is, Robert Downey Jr. was not a sure thing as Iron Man. I mean, if you go back and you look at when they first announced him,
yeah,
because he had just come off of the cocaine thing, and they were like, "Oh, he's not reliable."
It was a gamble.
It was a big gamble.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah, I think there's other people that could have made a good Tony Stark.
I know people were talking Tom Cruise the whole time.
Tom Cruise is Tony Stark?
Tom Cruise it was mainly fueled by
they're both the same height. So.
Adi Granov's art from Extremis, from that comic.
Yeah.
Which he looked like Tom Cruise in the comic.
Right, yeah.
And I think that was almost, it was a little bit of both. Like there was rumors of Tom Cruise playing Iron Man in a movie before that came out, and definitely after that came out.
Right.
And I don't know.
It was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, but I don't know what if Marvel even.
I can tell you some inside baseball on that. Samuel Jackson, when they did the Ultimates line, he actually used that as that comic as the pitch to get him on board to the movie.
Sure,
they said, "Look, here's the comic book. Here's you as Nick Fury. Would you be interested in playing that role?" And Samuel Jackson said, "Yeah, obviously I'm the man." So,
right.
So they put him in there. So I thought that doing that, if you want an actor to play in the role, you get an artist to draw him as that character or a look-alike as that character, then you make the pitch to him to be that person.
I mean, that's almost kind of the thing now. Like, you have guys like Mark Miller that are making, 4-issue, 6-issue miniseries that are obviously movie specs. You know, like they finished. A comic doesn't even have to finish. It's not even finished, and they've already sold the rights to
The movie rights.
to a movie studio.
So you don't have to have 25 or 30 issues. It's 4 issues in, and now we're going to just option that as a movie.
I mean, Chrononauts, the first issue came out, and they had already sold the movie rights. He hadn't even finished it yet.
Well, there you go, kids. It's a brave new world. Jump on board. Well, when you have the upside of that, you have the potential to make hundreds of millions of dollars in one year. I guess the temptation is.
Well, the movie studio does. I mean,
yeah.
Mark Miller.
That's what the option is. The movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Mark Miller isn't making that kind of money.
No.
Right.
Well, he could make hundreds of thousands.
Oh, he's
of dollars.
still making. Oh, I'm sure he's making millions.
You think so? What do you think the upside is for artists that are and writers that are creating comic books and then optioning them for movies? What do you think the proper pay scale should be? Do you think they should get a back end on that? Like if the movie makes $100 million, I make X number of dollars?
Certain companies have different rules. Like I know Oni Press, a lot of people stopped working with Oni Press because Oni Press in their contracts, they were asking for way too much money for movie rights. And I think Brian Lee O'Malley got screwed when they sold the rights to Scott Pilgrim. Obviously, he still made probably a good chunk of change, and
but not as much as he should have.
Not as much as he would have had he gone with a different publisher. However, at the time, Oni Press was doing that American style manga,
right? And Americanized manga.
Yeah, and he totally fit the bill. And I feel like Oni Press was the top person to publish him at the time. So it made perfect sense. However, the fact that Scott Pilgrim did end up getting a movie made, I want to say Brian Lee O'Malley ended up kind of getting screwed. But I know a lot of creators won't work with Oni Press now because of their weird contract. So, but Image I think has a looser. Like I'm sure Image gets a cut if something of theirs sells to a movie studio, but nowhere near as much as it would with the other publisher. I think Image is a little bit more loose.
Right. So why do you think that more Image comics properties aren't being licensed for movies and TV shows?
I mean,
because they were the hot thing in the '90s.
Yeah, but I mean, some of those did. Like Spawn had a movie and an animated
in
series.
the '90s.
The Savage Dragon had an animated series.
Okay.
More recent ones you have.
The
Walking Dead is huge, you know.
In the last 10 years, I haven't seen.
Well, Image, it's probably getting to a point now where some the rights are selling, but they're not being turned into anything.
Is it like when Marvel first had those where they would like sit on them for 15 years and not do anything? Like somebody had the right to make a movie, then they wouldn't do anything with it until it almost ran out.
And it's just like that person still made money from selling the rights, but it just never saw the light of day. Like I said, Chrononauts, that was an Image book, and it sold. The rights sold, and who knows if that ever, But I know a lot of Mark Miller's properties have, aside from, he published Kick-Ass with Marvel, and then I believe he published Secret Service under Marvel, and those obviously became 2 big hit movies.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before some of his other properties become movies.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you see a lot of the lag time between when a book is hot and when it becomes a movie too.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with the negotiations and probably the contracts and whatnot.
Sometimes it's just a matter of like what's going on in TV, and sometimes it has to be a perfect storm for something
to put it together.
Out.
Yeah.
Like who would have ever thought that iZombie would have a show on CW? That's not even that good.
Yeah.
However, it's there. It's there. It's on there.
Yeah. It reminds me of almost like it seems like it wants to have like an X-Files type of feel to it, but it's low budget.
More like it has more of a
NCIS.
No, it almost
because she works at the morgue. She eats the brains and she goes solve the crime. But it
still just kind of has this like teen feel to it. Like I still feel like I'm watching
Underdeveloped,
Charmed. You
okay.
know?
Yeah.
It has that like tone to it, which I'm like I don't get into it. I feel like I'm watching like Dawson's Creek, but with a zombie girl.
With a zombie girl.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not.
And you think is it filmed in Canada?
I don't know.
Because I think a lot of those shows that are filmed in Canada seem to have that type of underdeveloped
Yeah.
film to it. Because I was looking
at Degrassi. Are you dogging on Degrassi?
Orphan Black.
I don't watch it. I thought that was British.
It's filmed in Toronto.
It's filmed in Toronto?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of those, I mean, it's just a lot of those that are filmed there had that type of a feel to it. You know, like the Vancouver, Seattle, you know, that type of area. And I think that if you look at the way that comic book material is treated, it's not treated as a mature subject matter until you get into things like Walking Dead, but AMC. But that as a channel handles it differently, and I think depending on who brings it to the market dictates how adult that material is handled.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on who the producer is, who the writer is, who is the person that wants to, curate this, like build it, put it together into a TV show.
Right.
It can have a completely different tone.
Right.
Like in different hands, iZombie could have been completely different.
Right. It could have been should I say I saw it as being more of an X-Files mystery, that kind of seriousness to it. Like it's a supernatural story, but you could tell it in a realistic way and give it a little bit of gravitas. But they handled it as a teen kind of, like you said, really, really light, humor piece.
It definitely has, the comic definitely has a goofy side to it. And I kind of see that in the TV show, but in the TV show you get a lot of like talking heads kind of thing, and they have like these little banter moments and things like that, and which isn't really anything that you get in the comic series.
Right. The
story moves along a lot better. Mike Allred's art is spot on.
Right.
It's just more interesting in the comic than what I'm getting in on the TV show.
Yeah, and also I think it's always unfair to compare two different mediums, because a lot of things don't translate from the written page into movies. So guys, what is your favorite translation of a comic book into TV or a movie? And who do you think would have been a better Tony Stark than Robert Downey Jr.? Michael Downey Jr.?
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert.
Not
Robert.
Morton Downey Jr.
Right. It's
Robert Downey
No, but there's a Michael.
There's a Michael Downey Jr.?
Michael.
I think you're making this up.
I might be. He was the guy from Weird Science.
That's Anthony Michael Hall.
Okay.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. is in Weird Science.
Yeah. Okay. So I was right. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like one of his first movies.
Yeah.
If not his first.
It might have been his first. Yeah.
He's like a bully.
He's the bully, or is he the sidekick?
He's him and his buddy. They're both bullies in the movie.
In the movie, okay.
And it's just funny that Robert Downey Jr., out of all the actors in that movie, he ended up being the biggest star.
Isn't that crazy?
And he had such a small role in the movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie too. It's so good.
Yeah. So there's that. So I think that and on the movie scene, moving away from the small. So we got Jessica Jones has been renewed for a second season.
Daredevil season 2 is the next one.
Just starting.
That comes out March,
yeah.
Yeah.
And you have April is a big launch of a lot of other shows. And did they give the green light for Iron Fist yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
They haven't
haven't cast the actor.
Apparently they have, but they haven't told anybody yet.
Because he's not Asian. They're about to catch a lot of shit because he's not Asian.
It's the opposite. They were going to give shit if he was Asian, I think.
No, I think that there was a big push to make him Asian.
No, you know what I think it was? I think a lot of people were like, they were waiting for Marvel to cast him Asian. They go, oh wait, watch Marvel cast him as Asian, yeah. And Marvel was like, no, we didn't really have plans to do that. And they probably they were probably guessing themselves like, wait, should we? Should we cast an Asian? I don't know.
So if you're a member of the Asian community, let us know what the scuttlebutt was about Iron Fist in the Asian community. Because in the comic book, he's a white guy, but it was made in an era where the white guy went to Asia, learned more than the Asians, and became even better at.
But didn't you also you had like Shang-Chi though, right?
Yeah,
Look,
Marvel had to change. They had the. Tread very lightly with Doctor Strange on Wing.
There's some bomb-ass Asian characters in the Marvel universe.
Yes.
I would love to see them,
Are we going to see Misty Knight and Luke Cage?
Do I sound like a bigot? I'm coming off as a bigot, right?
No. No, I'm just saying that it's how they. He's not a bigot.
I'm not. Maybe I am. I don't know.
It's because of the time that the characters were created.
Yeah.
And who created them.
Right.
They didn't age well.
I definitely see what you're saying.
So you have to reinvent them, and if you're going to reinvent them, if their ethnicity isn't important to their story,
right.
Isn't it important that Danny Rand is a white guy for the Rand Corporation?
Right.
Could his parents have been Asian?
Yeah, it could have been.
Right, of Asian descent. Because in America, you can have any, you can be Irish and look Asian, or have an Irish last name. You can be Kelly and look Asian. You can be a Kelly and look black. You can be a Kelly and look white. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If your ethnic origin, if your ethnicity isn't important to the origin story, then you can cast any actor in that role. And I think that that's what more people are asking Hollywood to wake up to.
Yeah.
Right? To say, look, cast the best actor.
Like if this character were created today, what would he look like?
What would he look like?
Exactly.
Or would he even be male?
Right.
Because they flipped it. I mean, I liked
Danny with an I.
Right.
Oh.
Hey! Oh. See what he did there?
Yeah.
See what he did? Yeah, right? So, so when we think about how we reimagine these for the new media and for a new time and a new place in our society, we really have to open up the doors a little bit broader. And I think it's not just the dynamic between black and white, but we have to incorporate, the creative teams in that also, about whose story are you telling, and can people tell that story in an authentic voice. And I think that the studios are starting to become sensitive to that, because social media is pushing a lot of that. And if some community says we don't like this because it's not representing us right, that'll totally crash a movie.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I said, is Wing going to be Doctor Strange Asian assistant, or is he going to be equal to him, as a partner? So how you handle that relationship,
right?
Becomes really important, because you could get away with, the white guy comes along and learns things better than anybody from that culture, and then the person from that culture becomes his servant,
right?
And that's like the epitome of white supremacy, and we don't want to propagate that in our stories unknowingly. So I think that when they're casting these books and bringing these new characters online, I think that it should be handled with a certain degree of gravitas. That we should be conscious of it. It shouldn't. You don't have to recast everybody gender-wise or race-wise.
No, it's
but if it's not important to that character, then try to add some diversity, because everybody wants to feel included, in these stories. I mean, Luke Cage has to be black because his skin is the whole thing about him.
Yeah.
Right.
Misty Knight. Plus, his roots are so
urban,
in that blaxploitation, 70s. That's just.
And you can't cast Black Panther as a white guy.
No, exactly. He has to be. From Wakanda. He has to be from
black.
Africa.
Yeah,
he's black. It's
and not South Africa.
Yeah.
Right. So there's certain things that are tied to, Superman from Krypton. Can we have a different a Latino Superman? Can we have? Does it matter what race he is if he's an alien from Krypton?
I don't know.
So
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters, but we're ingrained to think of him as the way we see him, and I like the way Marvel has.
Nicolas Cage was almost Superman.
Almost Superman, yeah.
And that guy doesn't look like Superman.
Right, but I like the way they handled the new Miss Marvel. I like the way they've reinvented Captain Marvel.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome.
I mean, so if you give people a chance to do the right thing, I think they can do the right thing and make it awesome and make the tent bigger for everybody to feel like they have a character they can root for.
Right.
Right. So I think Marvel's out. DC, have they been handling it well with their casting? Because people lost their shit when Ben Affleck got cast as Batman.
I feel like we're still out on that one. We don't know
until the movie drops.
Yeah, we're gonna wait. Yeah, people don't know yet. People don't know what's going on. I know a lot of people are.
I'm still pissed about
upset
Wonder Woman.
about Gal. Yeah, people are upset about Gal Gadot. People are upset about Ben Affleck.
Tina Carrere was like a no-brainer.
I think people are most upset with the casting for Lex Luthor.
Really?
That's the one. That's the one that I feel like universally people agree That was
Eisenberg?
terrible. Yeah, that Jesse Eisenberg was not the guy for the role.
I don't mind him. He's
Really?
yeah. I liked him in.
I feel like you're.
I'm in the minority.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I liked him. I think his screen test for Lex Luthor was in The Social Network.
I no, I'm totally.
That total scene
That's
break,
exactly.
You don't deserve any of my fucking
That's
attention.
exactly.
I'm like, if he comes off as that Luthor,
That's exactly what they wanted for this movie. Like I had read that they like Lex Luthor is kind of like this Google, Apple, computer nerd type.
totally egotistical,
guy. Yeah.
totally self-absorbed, totally I don't give a shit about you because I am smarter than any 10 people in this room.
Exactly.
And let's move
And
forward.
that's what they wanted. They wanted this young, like startup internet,
genius.
Computer whiz guy.
But he's
exactly
Lex Luthor Jr. His father started the company. Now he's the next generation of the. And I think that's fine.
It's like Smallville Superman.
Yeah, it's like Smallville Superman. Yeah, and I think that's fine. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, whatever.
And I'm reserving my judgment until the movie comes out. But I think the TV properties will have a longer life than the movies because the movie sucks and it tanks. It's gone. At least with the TV shows, you get 13 episodes to tell your story.
They're easy fixes too. It's easy to fix something in TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can write a character off and keep the story going.
Yeah, or make a course correction. If
right,
the story's not going the right
you can
direction.
always fix something. Yeah,
yeah.
In
a
movie,
it's done.
Yeah, that's it.
You got
it's done.
2 hours, 30 minutes, and if you can't do it in there,
you just put in $150 million into this movie, and if it sucks, like there's no part two. Like that's it.
Right. So I'm curious I think they've done a great job with the Flash. I don't know where they're going to go with the Arrow. I'm not as impressed with the.
I'm not down with it. It's Batman Light. It's weak. I don't.
Agents of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
That's cool. It has more of a Flash vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Like all the weird time travel stuff. A lot of cool characters that I never thought would ever get their own show.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Bigger tent. More interesting characters.
Yeah.
More fantastical characters.
Exactly. Like you can really, you're really amazed by everything. Like whether you're a comic book fan or not. Like you're watching this and you're just like, this is fun. This is cool. I really like this.
And it may lead people back to the comics for the characters if they attach them.
Exactly.
On the TV show.
Yeah.
And get younger people into reading. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Maybe they won't read comics because they can see it on TV, but maybe they'll bring them to the comic books if they see them and like them.
Yeah.
And as long as we keep doing Nerdy Book Club, they'll have a place to come and talk and socialize around their nerddom. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm Lee Gaddis.
I'm Miles Van Meter.
And this has been Detroit Comics Picks and Shop Talk. See you next week.